As Mid East Antrim veteran champion, I was delighted to propose that this council would present a Silver Poppy of Remembrance to all surviving veterans of World War II in our borough. A special ceremony was planned to take place in the Braid Town Hall on Thursday the 7th of May to coincide with our VE Day 75 celebrations on the 8th of May 2020. Unfortunately, due to the current coronavirus emergency, the presentation has been postponed until a time when it is safe for us all to come together again. Every year, the number of our surviving veterans is reducing, and the time to provide public and appropriate recognition is running out. It is therefore important that we mark the service of these brave war veterans who fought against fascism and Nazism so that we might enjoy the freedom and democracy we have today. Mid East Antrim Borough Council has identified a number of veterans who will receive this beautiful silver poppy, which has been handcrafted here in our borough. As I said previously, the presentation ceremony has been postponed, but I'm delighted that some of the veterans have agreed to share their wartime memories with us. I hope you find their World War II stories and account as interesting and inspiring as I have. In our current climate, I think we identify more than ever with a generation who lived through the Second World War, and perhaps have a little more understanding of just some of the hardship which they endured. May I take this opportunity to ask you to stay safe and stay at home to help our wonderful National Health Service, as we are now in our own battle to overcome coronavirus. Let us follow the example of our World War II veterans and do what we can to come through this most difficult time. As veteran champion, I am justly proud of these remarkable men from our borough who played their part in securing victory in Europe. I look forward to a return to normality once again, when we can present each of these very deserving veterans with their silver poppy, but in the meantime, allow us to share with you some of their stories from World War II.
James Brennan joined the local Army Cadet Unit as a young man, which eventually led to him being recruited into the British Army just prior to the outbreak of World War II in 1939. James joined the Belfast 8th Heavy Anti-Aircraft Gun Royal Artillery Regiment 22nd Battery, which he served for the whole duration of the war. The men in the regiment had been recruited in the spring of 1939 and were each from the city and district of Belfast. Then in October 1939 they were posted to Cornwall, and from there they embarked for France, where their first engagement against German forces took place. However, due to the overwhelming German rapid advance at the time, all British forces were urgently ordered to make an immediate retreat to Dunkirk and prepare for evacuation back to Britain. Strict headquarter orders were issued for all forces to destroy weaponry, vehicles, ammunition, everything, upon arrival at Dunkirk, thus blocking their use later by the enemy. During that very hasty retreat, the Belfast 8th, under their Belfast commander, Colonel James Cunningham, required to make a forced diversion due to a dramatic earlier incident, which was as follows. While endeavouring to escape through one French town, their lead vehicle arrived at the town square just as some German advanced motorcycle troops entered the square at the opposite side. Quickly observing this dilemma, Colonel Cunningham, in the leading Belfast 8th vehicle, ordered his driver to turn sharply left out of the square, and the regiment in their vehicles followed along swiftly behind them. The German advanced troops did not pursue the retreating regiment, but remained in the square, where they apparently had been instructed to secure it until the main German forces arrived. Meanwhile, the Belfast 8th sped quickly onwards to escape on a course towards Le Havre, and from there made post-haste on the route for Cherbourg. Upon safely reaching that port, they quickly observed a massive British ship berthed nearby, and the 22nd Battery made immediate contact with its crew. Agreement was instantly reached through the ship's officers to have the 22nd Battery's heavy guns, and their specialised equipment urgently taken aboard, along with all the battalion's troops for shipment back to the British mainland. They had therefore now disobeyed the original strict order to destroy all weaponry upon reaching the French coast. The astounding consequences of that decision resulted in them being the only British troops to arrive back in Britain with both men and weapons intact. What a most breathtaking achievement that was, which resulted in all those men and heavy weapons being next engaged to defend Britain during the Battle of Britain and the London area during the London Blitz period. While one London air raid was in progress, Jim was caught out on a London bridge due to being ordered across London to deliver a dispatch, but now found himself dangerously exposed while incendiary bombs fell around him like hailstones. That's how he described that hair-raising experience. Yet he miraculously escaped without injury. High-flying German reconnaissance planes were often observed photographing over the 8th Belfast heavy gun positions around London and the southern area. So when it was estimated that those planes had finally gone back to their base, all guns, equipment and their crews were transferred to entirely new positions in a cat-and-mouse game, as preparation for the appearance of the expected German bombers and their fighter escorts. One serious problem for the Belfast 8th was trying to avoid shooting down RAF aircraft during those fierce air battles, as at certain high altitudes, some planes on both sides looked quite similar. So friendly fire was a distinct hazard then too, as it still is today in current world conflicts. The next major engagement for the Belfast 8th began in 1942, when they, with their heavy weapons, embarked on the Belfast-built liner RMS Britannic for service in Burma against the Japanese, under the command of the 1st Earl Mountbatten of Burma. They became known as the Forgotten Army at one stage, but colour film shot during the conflict by the regiment's Colonel Harry Porter today provides a tremendous insight into the atrocious and difficult fighting conditions faced by all those brave men who often did not receive an adequate amount of supplies while carrying on the war against the ferocious Japanese forces. Before sailing for Burma, Colonel Porter had equipped himself with a cine camera and some reels of colour film, which accompanied him during that phase of the war. Ironically, this had resulted once more in an Ulsterman disobeying orders, as at war's end, all the film material he had recorded was confiscated by the force's censorship personnel, and cameraman Porter was threatened with court-martial proceedings. However, the Ulsterman forcefully pleaded with him not to destroy all of his precious films, but to delete anything which may have caused a security issue, then return what remained. Thankfully, this request was finally agreed to, resulting today in a copy of that 35-minute amazing film record. The court-martial threat was also grudgingly cancelled. At war's end, the Belfast 8th embarked at Madras as a complete unit on the Belfast-built ship RMS Stirling Castle, which sailed to Liverpool, and from there they journeyed by sea to the Larne port of Northern Ireland, where a large welcome home crowd had assembled for their arrival back. From there, a special train had been arranged for transporting them back to Belfast, where a hero's welcome awaited them, as they marched proudly, but in a somewhat sombre atmosphere, through the city centre streets of their beloved, war-damaged Belfast, while remembering with sadness their fallen comrades, now lying in far-off foreign fields.
Just in the army at the time, and our sergeant was a Shankill roadman called Ernie Ruddick, And we were out in the range, the Lee Enfield rifles. And I think it was a Scots fella. No, but anyway, he was standing by the rifles. We were told to put one up into the breech, you see. So I put one up into the breech, but the boy beside me, whatever happened, he put one up the breech and pressed the trigger. And Ernie Ruddick, the sergeant, the instructor, like, he got shot. Part of the shoe, just the left-hand side of his shoe, it's a big toe.
Yep.
Didn't touch the big toe, but it took the leather off his boot, you know.
Yep.
I thought that was funny. But Ernie caught me laughing at him. I've been marked out, boy, he says, I've been marked out.
Right.
You watch yourself from now on. No more laughing, things like that. You know,
Very
I
good.
thought that was
Yep.
funny, you know.
Or when I was in the UDR and you let one off accidentally, it costs you £100 out of your wages at the end of the month. You're probably getting about 300 quid.
Well, I think, Billy, for £100 then, I would have had to serve about 2 years in the army. I'm not joking you. You know?
Yep.
I don't know what the setup is in the army now, like,
Yeah.
by their own or pay for it or what, you know, but then you got your 3 meals a day. You had a uniform. And I think it was, what was it? Half a crown a day or something.
Yeah.
12.5p today's money.
Yep.
Half a dollar, you know, for
Mhm.
quarter of a dollar. And every Friday when you got your money, you see, you're a millionaire for about half an hour. You know? But what I used to like about part of it was the naffy, you know. You're in the naffy, you got a very, very cheap meal. But I remember one time, well, what I used to like doing it because you used to get a meal for nothing after 9 o'clock when it closed, you see.
Right.
The Navy, Army and Air Force stores they call it, you know, but
Yep.
it's just an offer. And I used to like doing off NCO because I say you got a good meal 9 o'clock when they close the doors, you see.
Right.
And I always look forward to that,
Yep.
you know.
Yep. That was one of the
The
perks.
terrible appetite then, you know.
Yep.
Walking 10 or 15, 20 miles is nothing now, you just did it, you know.
Yeah.
But enjoyable, I enjoyed every minute of it. I enjoyed every minute of it, you know. And mostly good times, you know, but there were bad times too, like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've told me a few of them stories before,
Normandy,
so you
you know.
have her, and I don't want to take you there the day
It was
again. So don't there.
Some very rough times, but most of it was all right, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of it was rough. Lost good friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
As I said, that'll never come back, didn't.
Yep.
Bye.